Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivemy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about Season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
They're trekking across those new worlds for a third time.
For a third time, these sons of guns.
And they're going to do it 2 more times. I don't know if you guys know, they've been renewed for 2 more seasons.
Yes, absolutely. They filmed Season 3 and 4 simultaneously, apparently. Which I was quite surprised by because they had some stills out for Season 4. And I was like, when's this episode showing up? And it didn't because they filmed 2 seasons simultaneously.
They were very distinctive stills. Stills you would remember. You'd be like, I would remember this episode.
Excuse me? So they filmed 2 seasons simultaneously, and then they'll be filming a 5th and final season is reportedly what the plan for the rollout and ending of this series is going to be. But we've watched the entirety of Season 3, which just wrapped up. So we're going to give you a spoiler-free review in case you're on the fence about watching it, thinking about catching up, not sure if it's worth your time. We're going to give you a spoiler-free review, and then once you hear the theme music, we will enter the spoiler-filled section. So let's start with the spoiler-free review. Simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I did like it, but it's not a love. It's a very uneven season. There's definitely, with more so than other shows, there's just bangers and there's flops when you get to Star Trek. And it's kind of, I would say, maybe a 50-50 split this season of bangers and flops for me. Really, most of the bangers are what I loved about Strange New Worlds when it first started, and what I love about it usually is that they do episodic episodes that aren't connected to anything else. It's just like, here's a standalone fun one. It's not connected to anything else, and I love when that happens. And I think most of the flops are ones that are connected to the season arc they have this season, or at least even the storylines that flop, maybe through multiple episodes, are the ones that are connected through a long story arc this season. So I'm like, the whole thing was that they didn't have season-long story arcs, and that's what I liked about Strange New Worlds. So this season has more of one, which I didn't quite enjoy as much. But there's some standalone episodes that are, like, funny. There's some standalone episodes that are moving, and I'm like, you're nailing it half the time. There's some characters who we got to get rid of. There's some characters who I want to see more of, who we got rid of too fast. Just a real up and down. Like, it's Star Trek. It's up and down. I would hope by Season 3 it was more ups. It feels weird that we're getting more downs than when we started, which is a little disappointing to me. It's a like overall. It's not a love, but some episodes loves and some episodes are hates. So it hits the middle when you average it all out. Andrew, did you like Season 3 of Strange New Worlds?
I think I'm very similar to you in this one. I liked it. I really enjoy this show. Even when I don't like it, I'm having fun, and I'm still kind of glad I'm watching it.
It does make you feel good.
It makes you feel good. It's classic Trek in that regard, and I believe we've mentioned something similar in regards to the first 2 seasons of the show when we have discussed it, where it feels like traditional Star Trek in the regard of, like, there's banger episodes, there's hits, there's misses, there's characters that, every viewer is going to have their favorite character and least favorite character, and, maybe you're watching an episode and you're like, oh, wow, it's my favorite, and then sometimes you watch one and you're like, oh, it's one of these episodes.
Yeah.
And that feels very classic Trek to me, but the problem area for that is when you do an 8 to 10 episode season versus 24, that the big misses kind of stand out a bit more, and it's just a larger percentage of your viewing experience. If I'm watching an episode of TNG and it's a bummer, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I got 23 other ones that are kind of fun this year, whereas when you watch one of these and it's a bummer, and it's like, that's kind of 10% of it, and that hurts a bit more, but I'm still glad that they're taking chances and doing weird things and having fun with it and trying a bunch of varied stuff. The willingness to alienate the audience with some episodes actually is something that I find quite charming and risk-taking and endearing about this show, which is why I say that even when I don't like an episode, I'm having fun watching it, where I'm like, oh, okay, you tried something. It was a wild shot. Maybe this worked for some people. It didn't for others. But it's cool that you didn't always go the safest route. And so I do respect that. It's not taking the safest route. Even when it's bad, it's fun. And when it's good, it's great. Like, there are some absolute killer episodes and phenomenal performances and some things I'm over the moon in love with about this series. And then everything I'm not in love with, I'm like, I'm still having a pretty good time.
Everything I'm not in love with, I like what you're saying. It's very optimistic. Everything I'm not in love with, I do hope is someone else's favorite thing.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm also like, I hope everyone else hated this so they don't do it again. You kind of have that little kernel of hope.
There's at least one thing I think that we will get into later that we agree that we want everyone else to dislike and them to kind of course correct. But that's something for the spoiler-filled section. But yeah, I think with the exception of one thing where I'm like, this just academically and emotionally doesn't work and I can't imagine who it's for. Everything else, I'm like, it's fun. I'm having a good time. I'd recommend anybody watch it because... yeah, similar to the first 2 seasons, I'm like, it's the heart of Trek. It's goods, it's bads, it's fun, it's thoughtful, it's playful, it's stupid, it's sometimes wildly intelligent as well.
Yeah, there's both.
It's willing to be dumb in an attempt to be smart, and it's willing to be smart when it tries to be dumb. And I love that about art.
What a great open attitude you have. Because yes, when we get in the spoiler-filled section, I will say there's like a couple episodes where when they released the synopsis and the trailers for the certain episodes, I was like, I'm going to hate this. And I was surprised those episodes won me over more than they did. But I also understand why people didn't like them, and I'm excited to talk about them in a second.
Yeah.
I get the ups and downs. And I would also say maybe a slight negative for me about the season is I do think it's very beholden to the original series in a way that brings it down a lot of the time.
I can agree with that
and
as well.
I'm like, I would really love for you to just be your own thing and just not give a shit. Like, don't let your characters act totally out of character compared to how they were in the original. But not everything has to tie into what's going to happen in the 60s Star Trek show.
It does give the impression to me, and I think this is still kind of safe to say in the spoiler-free section because it's just wild speculation on my part. This series, as we mentioned, they filmed season 3 and 4 simultaneously and have been renewed for a season 5, which is supposed to be the final season. But I think that this show has been a success for them, and they want to keep it going, despite it having kind of a built-in end date for Pike's storyline and for what this journey is supposed to be. And it does feel like they're like, could we do the original series again? Or it feels like they're already kind of backdoor piloting to be like, can we keep this going without having to keep this going?
At the end of season 5, can we just change the name and Kirk's here?
Yeah. So I get the impression that there might be some focus testing financial decisions that are happening during the show that we like, which at times is fun and at times is a little bit like you're actually supposed to pay me for a focus group study.
You are. I used to be a Nielsen family. We had one of the boxes and they paid us every month and that was fun. Well, for my family, I didn't get any of it.
Yeah.
But I liked filling in the little, you get a little remote and you had to say who was watching.
See, that's fun.
And that was always fun for me. Because
Yeah.
I just said 15 people were watching all my favorite shows.
At the very least, I should get a free lunch and driven to the Paramount lot to give them the kind of feedback that I think they're kind of just trying to test audiences for. But we'll get into, and I apologize. That's probably one of the closer to spoiler things that we've done on the spoiler free section. But it's also wild,
It's
just corporate speculation that we're putting out there.
That's just speculation and a fact that if you're listening to the season 3 episode of Strange New Worlds, you know what happens to Pike.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. They brought it up in 1 and 2.
It's been brought up.
Yeah. Can it be spoiled?
Yeah, maybe, but not in a way I would have ever cared about that if it got spoiled for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, same thing. There are academic spoilers to be like, you could say that this is how it ends, but I don't think it really affects anything.
I would have been like, what?
I think it's pretty casually spoiler free.
Yeah, it's very Star Trek in that way.
Yeah.
You kind of have to experience a Star Trek episode. You can't really get it spoiled for you like a superhero movie.
I'm with you. All right. Well, that is the spoiler-free section. Before we get into the spoiler-filled section, we do want to remind our listeners, if you are in Nova Scotia, particularly the Halifax area, at the beginning of November, we will be at HalCon, the Halifax Comic Convention. Diana will be tabling, so come by, say hi, get a copy of her book, and have her sign it for you.
Yeah, and Andrew will be moderating the celebrity panels, and we both will have a panel as well. So we're all over the place at HalCon.
Yes, we'll be in Halifax November 6th to 9th, and as well, I will be putting on a stand-up show at November 7th at Good Robot in Halifax. Tickets are available right now at andrewivanme.com. If you get early bird tickets, you can use the promo code SEPT20, SEPT20, if you buy your tickets in September, and get 20% off tickets. So if you're in the Halifax area, get your tickets in advance. It's going to be myself and some wonderful other guest comedians, people who've been on Just for Laughs, Halifax Comedy Festival, writers for This Hour is 22 Minutes. So some really cool guests coming by doing spots as well. Get your tickets right now, November 7th. There will be a link in the episode description, or you can check out andrewiveme.com or my socials to find the link for everything.
And also, just check out andrewiveme.com for fun.
Hey,
it's all Andrew's if you want to learn more about Andrew.
It's just a website.
No,
It's just a website.
There's a lot of stuff on there. I've been to your website.
I mean, I'm fine with it, but it's not like an entertainment network. It's not like from superheroes.com.
No, but
has stuff.
But like, if you're listening to this podcast, you like Andrew. So if you want to know, like, what else has Andrew been up to? Like, it's all right. Concentrated.
I guess there is stuff there.
Concentrated Andrew.
I guess there is stuff there. It's not what it's about, though.
I think that's what it's about.
It's about people getting tickets if they're in the Halifax area.
Yeah, but that's also where you get the tickets.
That's true, too. Well, we'll see you then and there. Now let's get into the spoiler-filled section for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3. All right, we have seen Strange New Worlds Season 3. We're in the spoiler-filled section. We're on a similar wavelength, but me maybe a slightly more optimistic than you.
I love this optimism from you. It's so very Star Trek of you. You'd be a great Starfleet officer.
Oh, thank you.
Even in the darkest times, you're like, there's light out there. We just have to keep chugging through the space on our trek, and we're gonna find it.
We're gonna find it. And sometimes it's rough.
Sometimes rough.
But sometimes it is delightful. It's great.
It's great. And even sometimes even when it's rough, it's great.
And sometimes even when it's rough, it's great.
Yeah, the Ortegas episode.
Yeah. So important stuff. How do you want to go through this season?
How do I want to go through this season? We already talked a little bit about how it's a little too beholden to the original show. I don't know if we need to get into the specifics. It just kind of is.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to touch on that. I do want to open, I think, with a negative, maybe just because the season opens with this. And dear God, there's so much romance this season. And that's not what Star Trek is about. And Spock has like 3 girlfriends, and it bothers me so bad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, because that's not who Spock is. He's cool and mysterious. He's not like, he doesn't need a girlfriend the second he doesn't have a girlfriend. He has not been single this whole series. He had T'Pring, which made a ton of sense, because that's OG connected. He had to have had a wife already once that episode happens in the original series. And T'Pring was cool. I loved T'Pring. But to be dating Chapel for so long, and then literally the next episode start dating La'an is crazy on any show, and it's especially crazy on a 10-episode season of Star Trek about like the coolest, most aloof man who's ever supposed to have existed.
Yeah. I think you hit a couple of things there. I think one thing that this show inherently kind of gets wrong, which is trying to fill in the hole that fan fiction likes filling in, and to be like, no, they like filling it in. They don't like you filling it in for them.
Don't take our jobs, Star Trek writers. I'm going to fill in the plot holes of what happened between like Pike and Kirk and Spock and Kirk and whoever.
And I think
you just tell a good story.
Particularly from the romantic Spock angle. To be like, it feels very, very focused on the idea that Spock as a sexual icon is something that came about for a lot of reasons. One being, the strong silent type, the mysterious type, becoming somewhat of a queer icon as well, and meaning something to the LGBTQA plus community.
The nobility.
The nobility of it. There's a lot going on there. And then it feels like this show took that and was like, what if we never shut the fuck up about it? And it's like, that's actually kind of the opposite of what was endearing about the strong, silent, mysterious type. If you ad nauseum go to that well and make it loud and unmysterious, that's actually quite the opposite of why people are so focused on him as a sexual and romantic icon. Mm-hmm. So I think that is an inherent misunderstanding of what it is people were romantically attracted to about Spock. So I think that that's a big miss of this show.
I think that's a big miss. I think the show just in general also has too much romance, not even about Spock. But I'm also going to backtrack on this negative because this was infuriating for how much I liked it. Because I was like, stop letting Spock have romances. This is so tiring. What are you doing? But him and Lahan actually really work. They have chemistry out of the roof.
It's tough. It's
tough, right?
It's tough because the writing is not what's doing it.
No,
it is
they're
these two
crushing
actors
it.
have chemistry. They can dance. They pop on camera. These actors have elevated something that has not worked for 2 seasons, which is the over romanticizing of Spock, and it is a empty well, and these two people are dripping with sexuality together to the point where they filled the fucking well. It works. I want it. I ship it. I'm in. They have chemistry.
I'm also in, and imagine how delicious this would be if Spock hadn't had a romance until now. If we'd gone like 2 seasons and he's just Spocking around, and then all of a sudden it's him and Lon, and it's like, oh no, this is fire. Because even character-wise, they actually make a ton of sense together. Spock's becoming a little bit more human. This season, La'an got over her like trauma with the Gorn, so she's actually loosened up a bit because she faced the Gorn and she fought them and defeated them. So she's kind of gotten to drop her walls a little bit and become a little bit more likable and easy. And that really does like actually meld for them as a perfect timing as a couple. I really dig the chemistry. I dig it from a character point of view. I can't believe they did it immediately after an episode where he dreamt about marrying Chapel for an entire thing. I'm like, what a waste of one of your 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But they absolutely slap together.
They absolutely slap. They pop. They make sense as well. It's just like, yeah, I see why you both are attracted to one another. Like the whole romance between Spock and Chapel never worked for us because, as we discussed, I think last season, it was just we understood why she was attracted to him, and it has never been clear why he is attracted to her.
The messiest woman of all time. I mean, emotionally messy.
Yeah, there's no traits about her that Spock is actually interested in. All of the episodes were just kind of him being attracted to her because she's there and her being attracted to him because he fixes all of her problems. But this is one where I'm like, both of you, it's been, the well's dry, but somehow they filled it up with just a dripping performance of chemistry.
And tons of dancing.
Tons of dancing.
Wow. They found out Christina Chong could dance and they were like, oh, you didn't tell us that.
Let's get it going.
Oh, girl.
And Ethan Beck can dance too.
Ethan Beck can dance too. It looks like the girl does more because it's all the spins and stuff, but you got to carry her and flip her and spin her around. So they both can fucking dance.
And I think even Ethan Beck's ability to be that dancing partner while staying in character and the very robotic lift as well to like maintain that muscle. That's a physical feat as well. But yeah, Christina Chong is fucking phenomenal. Yeah.
I also she's one of my favorite characters on the show as well. I really like La'an, which is crazy because she's one of the only non-OG characters. She had to she's one of the only people who built the character from the ground up. And she really has had an arc that's been slow enough that I wasn't like, the show's just about this.
Yes.
But in a nice slow progression of opening up more, getting over her traumas, becoming more enjoyable to be around.
Especially when the season 1 Khan storyline didn't really work for us. We're like, okay, you're kind of mining some stuff that's already been mined and it doesn't actually draw that much interest.
Yeah, they didn't really know what to do with it. And it was so much more interesting when they just gave her own backstory about being captured by the Gorn that wasn't connected to being a Noonien Singh at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So season 1 was a reference more than a story. Season 2 was a story, and now she's grown into, I think, one of the most interesting characters as well. Yeah. So they do pop together. I do think one of the other problems with the relationships of this show, to kind of go back to Spock and the the romanticization of it all, is as much as this show has a very diverse group of creatives working for the show, both on screen and behind camera, writing, and in every capacity, it is very not willing to accept any queer coding of any characters at all. And I feel like that's part of why of the loving of Spock, so much of it comes from the fan fiction community of Spock and Kirk being shipped is probably one of the biggest shippings of all time.
It is up there in the top 3, if not the top. Yeah.
And there is a desperation about, like, Spock's dating 3 women at once. He's straight. Stop. We've made him not mysterious. He never shuts up, and he's always smooching women because he is not gay. He's not gay. No one say that he's gay. And it feels very panicked, kind of like we need to straight wash this character to make sure that no one says that he's gay ever again. And it's like, that actually kind of feels shitty. It feels shitty, and I don't like that. I don't like that you have a wildly diverse group of creatives working on the show, and none of that seems to really present itself on camera. There are no queer romances in any regard.
No, not just for Spock. I think in season 1 they mentioned that Chapel had dated women before, but she's never dated one on screen. So it's kind of just a mentioned queer representation that you don't get to actually see.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel right for like 2025 Star Trek, because Discovery, I think the engineer and the medical doctor were a couple, and they were two guys. Like, they had these 2 gay regular characters, like mains. So it is very weird to be. It almost feels like they're like, well, this is before the 1960s Star Trek, so we can't have gay people.
Well, it feels very scared to upset fans of the original series.
It does feel very scary.
Like, we don't want to recanonize too much. We can have guest stars that might be gay or of a different perspective, but we cannot upset fans of the original series. And it's like, no, upset them. Who gives a shit?
And also, like, that's what they liked about it. That's what all the start. And then at the very end, they're like, Spock and Kirk do a mind meld, and Ortegas is there giving them a look. I'm like, yeah, right?
Play into this.
They immediately want to fuck.
Play into this.
That's what you're supposed to do with these 2 characters.
Yeah.
Sexual tension. Even if you don't want to have any, so don't have any romances. That's what made it okay, like what makes it work sometimes. If no one's having romances, you can pretend anyone's having a romance.
Yes.
But if Spock's dating 3 women...
Yeah.
And Uhura's dating a woman, or a man, sorry, and Chapel's dating only guys, and Pike's got a girlfriend. Like, to have so many romances and to have no queer ones is wildly statistically unlikely in the year 2400 that they're in.
Yeah, and it feels queer representation in the 90s DC comic book sense of the, like, Catwoman's bi. Is that something we all find sexy? And it's like, okay, you're panicking. See, I can feel you panicking.
You're panicking a lot.
And it's not super fun.
It's not super fun. Yeah. Too much romance for 10 episodes. It also just on that same note, it just like overstuffs the cast. If you're giving everyone like all these like romance figures, like not just one-offs. I mean, like Chapel's got a fiance now. Uhura's dating Ortegas' brother. Batel's got to show up every 3rd episode. It's a 10-episode season, and there's too many people here.
It's a 10-episode season, and you've got 13 guest stars.
Yeah, you don't have enough episodes for every member of the cast.
Kirk is practically a main now that you have to keep giving episodes because you're clearly trying to backdoor pilot some kind of original series reboot. So yeah, we've got Kirk as a main, and we've got all these other guest stars who are coming in. And so I'll switch over to a positive. If you feel like we put an adequate button on the Spock lawn romance of it all.
I feel good about that. Thank you. Yes. I like the positives because it is like an up and down season. As I said, there's lots of ups.
It's an up and down season. We threw a bit of shade at like the wedding episode of the like it's all a fantasy of Spock getting married to Chapel. I do think Rhys Darby as AQ is perfect casting. Like, the episode may have some rough edges, but as soon as we find out he's a Q, or like as soon as he showed up on screen, I was just like, oh, of course.
This is what Q's supposed to be like.
Of course it is. But like a younger, more playful, impish, like it's a little bit more jovial than what Q was.
Yeah, he's just trying to like cause mischief, whereas Q was like, I'm going to test humanity's valor.
Q was a childish asshole. Like he was an adult asshole who behaved like a child, and this is just a curious child behaving like an adult. It's weird how there's a Venn diagram where they do overlap, but they're distinctly different. He's playing it almost closer to like a Mxyzptlk from a Batman comic of
very
like
Mxyzptlk,
a multi-dimensional imp who's just having a goof.
Yeah, and he's playing multiple characters and disguising himself, things that like Q didn't do in TNG. Yeah, just a very different take, but not in a way that I'm like, but that's not what Qs are like.
Yeah,
It feels like in canon what a different Q would be like if we met another Q, which we've met a couple, but not very many. So no, I actually think this episode is weird in the way that there's a couple episodes like this where I'm like, man, I don't like this premise. And then the episode won me over. Like, I don't like the premise of Spock likes Chapel so much that he dreams about marrying her, and we have a whole episode about that. I'm like, on paper, that sucks. But like Spock and Corby, his fiance, were actually hilarious together. Them trying to like undo whatever's happening and trying to convince people that this wasn't real and reality doesn't exist. They were actually a hilarious duo together. Rhys Darby's doing incredibly fun stuff. There's even like, I even actually really like Spock's speech about realizing why him and Chapel don't work as a couple. When he's like, I couldn't give you space and understanding or whatever he was saying. And I really believe the Chapel Corby romance. They sold those two are in love.
They work.
Those two have chemistry for days.
But also complicated. Like she's messy, but he's messy, and they're messy together in a way where I'm like, oh yeah. And her as a character, she works so much better all of a sudden in this romance, where I'm like, oh, I kind of get who you are now, and the type of friendships and relationships you should have. You've coalesced, and you make a lot more sense in the performance. It feels more vibrant all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, yep. I think it's an episode that won me over in a surprising way when I was like, are you kidding me? This episode's about the two of them getting married the whole time. I hated it. But then, damn, you got me at the end though. It was fun. Like you said, even the bad episodes can be fun.
Yeah.
And then maybe not even be bad.
Yeah, it'd be like, was this bad? I don't know anymore.
Was this bad?
Was this bad?
There's 3 episodes where I'm like, was this bad?
Was this bad? What are the 3? If we could move forward from that one.
The 3 episodes of Was This Bad are the wedding episode, We're All Vulcans, and the finale.
Ah, okay.
So I've got 3 Was This Bads.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, let's move over then. It was the wedding episode. Let's talk about the Vulcans, the 4.5 Vulcans.
4.5 Vulcans.
4.5 Vulcans. The episode where the crew or 4 of the crew get turned into Vulcans. A mixed bag.
An absolutely mixed bag. I saw the trailer. They released the trailer at Comic-Con for this episode, and I despised it. And I understand why people were really mad about it. And I'm also kind of theoretically mad about it, but then the episode was so fun and charming that I just forgot to be mad about it.
Now, I was not plugged into the fan community for the backlash to this one. Why were people mad about it?
Well, this just isn't how Vulcans work. Vulcans aren't born logical and in control of their emotions. If you transformed into a Vulcan, you should have raging emotions and be very illogical. You have to be raised as a Vulcan to like learn the meditations and learn how to control it. Like in season 1, Spock went through a whole thing because he did a weird mind meld and suddenly all of his emotions were bursting out of him. So if even Spock can't control it after like a lifetime and decades of trying to do it. So it's a betrayal of what Vulcans actually are. They're not born logical. They're born actually more emotional than humans and tamp it all and pull it all in.
Okay.
So this is a kind of a betrayal of what just transforming into a Vulcan would be, especially if you're not doing a mind meld or anything. If you're just physically changing, you should have bigger emotions.
Okay. I get that. I understand that the logic of it does not make sense.
The logic of it doesn't track, but you have to. But then about 15 minutes in, I threw it away and I just had fun. I'm like, this is a fun episode for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part, this is really fun.
When before they even transform into Vulcans, that scene where it is Lon and was she sitting with Ortegas or was it
Una?
It was Una. I mean, like, yeah, things are messy. It'd be like, I don't know, things are awkward, and the camera just cuts over to Spock happily eating alone,
just sitting up straight, being like, I didn't know they were awkward.
I'm here to have lunch. They shunned me away because they said they were having a meeting, which seems silly, but I've accepted it, and now I'm eating lunch. And I'm just like, that was funny. Doug is so funny.
Doug changed my life because until Doug, Una was nothing to me. Una's never been a character I liked or disliked. She's kind of just there. And I'm like, I don't really get what Una's whole thing is. She had that one really great episode where she convinces Star Trek to let her stay because she's Illyrian, even though she's genetically modified. That's a great episode. But other than that, I've never really gotten like, what Una's vibe is. And this whole Doug thing made Una like my favorite character. She sold the shit out of it. Patton Oswalt sold the shit out of it. It was so charming and believable and funny.
And Rebecca Romaine sells the comedy, and I'm like, I didn't know you had this, but just like her wild attraction in the VO supplemental log, which she's like, and then we had to get advice from Doug. The way she like moans when she says Doug, Rebecca Romaine is so fucking funny with this Doug storyline.
Shockingly funny to the point where I'm like, are you actually attracted to Patton Oswalt? Was this acting?
She sells the shit out of it.
She sold the shit out. They both did.
Yeah.
Like, I even believed, like, you know, like Patton's like, I'm a Vulcan, but I'm super into this girl. She's so great. So yeah, the episode really won me over. And then it even got like slightly emotional and nice. Like when Spock is pulling La'an back to humanity. And they like transition this fight into dancing. I was like, oh, that's smooth.
The fight dance in the dreamscape is gorgeous.
To pull her humanity back by fighting her and then transforming it into like lifts and spins. It was really cool and nice.
And that's that beautiful like trifecta of like, I like the writing, I like the meaning. They're both just dripping with attraction and chemistry. They're phenomenal dancers. It's well shot. It's well executed. This is like every single person is firing at 10 out of 10 on their creativity for that section of that episode to be like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what you do.
That's it. And even just fun other stuff was happening that episode. Just Kirk and Scotty trying to stop La'an from going to war. Like in the background, like
Cute.
Abed delivering a baby in that one episode of Community kind of background thing happening.
Cute and fun.
It was super cute and fun. Yeah. Yeah. Wildly. I couldn't believe how much this episode won me over because I hated the idea of it and even the watching the actual trailer.
See, I think the thing that I disliked most about the episode was just how mean all of them were to Spock because it was too much. It crossed to that point of like, I see what they're going for to be like full Vulcans have, you know, been rude to Spock his entire life, and they're supposed to kind of represent how society or his society has previously treated him, and you know, help to highlight how appreciative he is of the life and crew that he is with and things like that. But it's just stuff where I'm like, I don't know, you're all just being kind of. It feels like you had hate in your heart before the transformation, and that kind of grosses me out. You know, like even just things where Pike is just like 4.5 Vulcans to beam down. Is that not accurate? Am I not being the most accurate because you're only half Vulcan, which means that you're half weakness? And I'm like, this is the most efficient way. 5 to beam down is the most efficient way to say this. And you've gone out of your way to do this long-winded, hateful speech. And it doesn't feel Vulcan because it's not, they're efficient in their degradation of Spock at times, and it's so long-winded that I'm like, did all of you actually hate Spock and have been waiting for a chance to dunk on him? Because you all just kind of seem to have a personal vendetta of it was too much. It made me dislike who the characters were pre-transformation.
And most of the trailer was that scene where they're just really mean to him in the transporter room. And I think what makes it worse, because I agree with all of that, they're too mean to him because this ends up not even really being a Spock episode as much as he like helps pull them back. It's kind of just a little bit about everyone working through their own personal stuff. So, but like if it was a Spock episode where everyone's like realizing what he went through on Vulcan, or he's coming to terms with what he went through on Vulcan, but at the end they all just get turned into human again and like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, yes, I'm the same as I was before, and I've gone on no journey about this. And I'm like, well, that should be a Spock episode. Why are episodes that shouldn't be Spock episodes about Spock?
Interesting. That's a good point.
But this episode that should have been about like Spock's trauma and what he's gone through on Vulcan and how instantly mean Vulcans are to him isn't about Vulcan, and it's about him, and it's played for laughs, but it's too mean.
It's too mean.
It's too mean to be played for laughs.
It's too mean on him.
I completely agree. So yeah, but then they kind of stop doing that like 15 minutes in, and they're kind of just mean to everyone in a weird way. So it like tapers off. But it comes in too hot and mean.
Yeah. Yeah, for an episode that has wildly playful stuff like Doug and Una.
The Doug thing almost doesn't feel like it fits because it was so mean earlier on.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, it's this kind of episode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
That's fun. Yeah, there's fun stuff there.
Bring Doug back.
Bring Doug back. One that I don't have much to say about is the murder mystery episode with the testing of the holodeck, which was kind of a fun premise. And like I was like, I'm having a fine time. I'm along for the ride. The one thing that episode did highlight, and there's been multiple times that this has been highlighted for me in the show, but it really drew attention to it. Just how good Anson Mount is as an actor, because everyone else is like, I'm my character / me, but now I'm wearing a different jacket. Whoa! And it looks like I'm in the 70s. And Anson Mount showed up and was like, I'm carrying my body different. I have a different voice. I have imagined a completely different backstory. I am physically, mentally, and emotionally transformed into a different character that exists in this holodeck simulation, who is a movie producer or who is a television producer. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, you showed up as an unrecognizable man, and everyone else is their character in a silly jacket.
Absolutely 100% unrecognizable is the word, because when she goes into the holodeck, they've established that they only have scans of the crew, so everyone on the holodeck is going to look like crew members. Like, cool, I like that explanation. That's just fine. She went on the deck, and I'm like, well, who's that guy in the glasses and the curly hair? We've never met him before. I didn't recognize him, but not because of the glasses and the curly hair.
Yeah.
He was just holding himself so differently and actually playing a different character. I'm embarrassed for everyone else who was in that episode, that they were just like, I'm just me, but on the holodeck, right? And Anson Mount's like, I did a character study. I'm a serial killer. Even though he wasn't actually the killer, I was like, you have the vibes. You nailed the vibes of a serial killer.
And to be like, I've decided that this character blinks differently than Captain Pike does. And I've actively made an effort to make sure that this character blinks differently. It's like, oh, fuck, man. You've made every decision. You sat down and made every acting decision for this character completely different from what Pike is.
It's so weird that was like the best acting we saw all season from him. Not that he's ever bad other than that, but like that's the episode he shone, this weird holodeck episode.
We'll unpack it in a minute, I think, when we get into that episode, but I also liked him in the final episode, which I think
we have to unpack the final episode.
We'll probably agree on some writing things, but I do think that he still brings the heat there. But we'll get to that in a minute.
But I liked the holodeck episode. I liked how secluded it was. It was my favorite Trek episodes are always episodes you can just turn on and not know anything about what season it is and just watch them on their own.
Yeah.
And this was just a classic, let's have fun on the holodeck. It's not connected to anything else that's happened. Mm-hmm. We're just going to solve this little mystery. We'll get trapped. And of course, the safety features always break, so you might actually get killed. And yeah, it'd be really great if other people were giving cool performances like Anson Mount, and it was just a crazy, like, whoa, everyone can act. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm like, oh, this is a fine episode. This is like a 7
yes.
for me out of 10.
And just to clarify, when both of us are saying acting a moment ago, range. Obviously, these are all phenomenal actors, but this was very much a like, I am a stage actor with range. I am someone who can I'm someone who could play Hamlet tomorrow. Like, it's that level. It's
clearly
it's
he's
different.
got range.
It's different.
His
and
range,
there are other phenomenal performers on the show in their own right and respect.
His range is as high as his hair.
Yes. Yeah. He could be cast. He has the talent to play any character on the show. Like, you know, that type of a thing, whereas everyone else are great actors cast properly for the characters that they are.
I completely agree with that. Should we talk about the character?
Now, let's talk about the one that's a mess, and it just does not work at all. And it's the engineer.
Carol Kane as Pelia.
Pelia does... It does not work.
Oh my God.
Whatever they're trying, I don't understand what they're trying even.
Yeah, right? So like even if I could understand what she's saying, and I can't most of the time, 80% of the time her lines are just lost to me of what she's even saying. But like this is also just such a weird character that doesn't feel Starfleet. Like it feels like a character you run into, but doesn't actually like have a uniform and work on a ship. Mm-hmm. Like she's thousands of years old and she's got a room full of old technology from Earth and she's got crazy stories about doing LSD. And I'm like, you should be like Quark or Odo, like a character who's around but not technically Starfleet.
Yeah.
Or the bartender. You should be the bar if you have to be here. I'd rather you're not here at all. I don't like you at all. But if you have to be here, you shouldn't be in a Starfleet uniform. You don't fit the vibes. No. I don't believe you went to the academy and graduated.
Yeah, I don't believe her as a bartender. Like because I think that they wouldn't make her the bartender because they're trying to avoid making it just Guinan.
Yeah.
And I think that this reflects the exact same problem and misunderstanding that they have with Spock, but with Guinan, because I think it was like they look at Spock and they're like, well, everyone is really interested in how mysterious he is, romantically mysterious he is. What if we never shut the fuck up about it?
What if we give him a bunch of romances?
And I feel like they looked at Guinan and they're like, Guinan's so interesting because it's so mysterious and we never really unpack Guinan. What about that? But she never shuts the fuck up about it. And it's like, okay, you took the mysterious dial and turned it down to 0, and it's not actually anything of interest at that point. It would be like if Guinan just ran into the bar every episode and was like, I met Mark Twain! And it's like, no, that was interesting in one episode once, and you can't just beat this horse to death.
It's not interesting to walk into a room and be like, this is the race I am, and I'm thousands of years old, and I like Earth technology, and I kind of do drugs all the time. And here's everything. I'll answer every question you have about me.
Yeah.
Not mysterious.
And it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. And I feel bad because Carol Kane is a legendary comedic performer who has a phenomenal ability to find the comedy and to play these really iconic character pieces. But I think all of the characters that she is funniest in and most famous for are characters that everyone else, every other character in the room is like, we've got to get away from her. Those are the characters that she is cast well to play. She is
annoying, but like in a funny way because you're an audience member and you're not trapped with her.
Yes.
But I think.
But the second it's like, well, everyone likes having her around all the time. I'm like, that's actually never who she's played well. She plays, a witch in Princess Bride, a specter in Scrooged. Like these are the it's a bit much and everyone wants to get out of that room as fast as possible is where she comedically shines. And this is the exact opposite of that. And it's just poor casting for a legendary comedic talent.
Yeah. And the voice doesn't work. Also, but a lot of her scenes are with Scotty, who also has a thick accent. I can understand 90% of what Scotty's saying. But when Scotty and her have a scene together, I'm just like, well, this scene's just gone to me.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening. At least Scotty, though, is playing it like he wants to not be around her. He doesn't like her. Everyone else does not have a problem with this character, but at least Scotty is trying to leave the room every time she enters.
He's
doing something.
That's something.
He's working with the character she's built.
Yes.
Whereas everyone else is pretending she's normal.
Yeah.
This is just a normal person who's always around.
Yeah, it even feels like in scenes where she is in the command room, Anson Mount, who's a phenomenal performer, I feel like even he's like, I don't know what to do with this. We're all supposed to like that she... And yeah, the guy who plays Scotty is like, no, I've made a decision that I am freaked out by her and I don't want to be in the room. And I'm like, that's the right choice. You made the right performance choice. Yep.
Way to go, Scotty.
Yep.
I think you're fun and I like you. When you said 2 batteries in the last episode, I laughed so hard.
Yes.
Two batteries.
He's great. And
He's great.
And not only is that the right acting choice for the way that he kind of reacts to Pelia as well, it makes her funnier because he is putting her in the comedic lane that she works really well in. And now it's something to play off. So yeah, it's just kind of a mess what that character is.
Yeah, everyone else is giving her this flat energy and he's actually giving her something.
Yeah.
And their scenes actually work the best probably.
Absolutely.
But still don't want her to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still doesn't work.
Yep. So
still doesn't work. That's a faux pas that didn't win me over.
Yeah. Which welcome to be won over, but that one didn't quite work. One other episode, just to kind of breeze over, the fake documentary, that didn't really work for me, but it was one of the kind of what I was saying in the spoiler-free review where I'm like, you tried something. I like the swing that you took. This premise could have worked. I think that the director of the episode didn't execute it properly. It was somewhere in between a documentary and a found footage thing, and it was too many camera switches and angle switches, and you were close. you were close, but you just didn't quite have the style and finesse to stick the landing.
I will completely agree because I really like this was the opposite for me of most of my problems where I'm like, the premise of this is great. Is Starfleet a military or an exploration like fleet? Like, what is our actual mission? And like an exploration of that. And I like through a documentary and through interviews. I'm like, I actually think this is great. And I completely agree that it's edited poorly. The camera's too shaky. So many close-ups.
Yeah.
And then you're right. It's half found footage, half like fake drone thing that he flies around to film everybody. When it's just kind of quiet and he's doing the one-on-one interviews, it's actually quite interesting and intense.
They knew how to film that.
They knew how to film that.
Yeah.
And like just like his questions are very intense in a way that I'm like think is fair a lot of the time. I'm like, have you ever killed somebody? Would you kill a Gorn immediately if you saw one? Which is actually a great question because Lon does that later in the Ortegas episode. She kills a Gorn the second she sees one. So it's actually like kind of a cool setup there. So I agree on paper this really worked and parts of it really worked. It also has too easy a resolution since the alien wants to die. They don't have to decide whether they're going to give it to the other planet as a weapon or not.
Yeah.
They wrote themselves into a like, well, we'll just do what it wants. And we won't actually have to make a choice if we're going to go against orders or be good people. Or, so it had too easy a resolution for the end. But like, I think it was a really interesting question to ask. And it just wasn't quite executed well. But like, cool premise.
I'm glad they tried it.
I'm glad they gave it a shot.
I'm glad they tried it. Yeah. And it was a little there was just too much going on sometimes for me to even follow what the premise was, where it was just like they're talking about different species and one of the species is a weapon that's being owned by the other species to transfer to the other species. And now it's a drone shot and now it switches over to a camera and now it's inside the console. And I was just kind of getting dizzied by all of it. The writing was too layered with too many camera angles and cuts and too high of a premise. And I think that like one of the things that made a big disservice of it, and that was kind of a writing failure of the idea of this documentarian character who is Ortegas' brother, is that he shows up and he's like, I shoot everything via drone. I'm a drone guy. There's a drone in the room. And the idea that like, it seems a very un-Star Trek decision that they made in the writing room or design aspect to make him like that, to be like, what if a documentarian was more obtrusive and in the way? Because now there is a big drone that is larger than most of the cameras we've seen in this universe.
Larger than most of the cameras we personally own.
And there's a dude 4 feet away operating it like a child operating an RC car. So it was just, it felt very a 60-year-old writing what they think a kid now is going to do with a document. It felt very out of touch, but dated at the same. And it was just weird. Mm-hmm. And then the camera cuts. I'm like, were there 9 drones in the room? Why do we have 14 camera angles of this shot? How annoying was this fucking guy? And I didn't really buy into his and Uhura's romance because Uhura reads like a 30-year-old and he reads like he's 16. This is a boy, the most boyish boy. Like he's Ortegas' little brother is how he's introduced. And Uhura is the communications officer of a starship. And he showed up and was like, I'm got a drone. Ooh, you guys want to watch me fly it? And I'm like, this guy's a loser. He's a loser, and he's being played like a 16-year-old loser who's never made a documentary or a film before. It's not like it's like, this is my brother. He's a acclaimed documentarian filmmaker. It's like, this is my little brother. He wants to make a documentary. And it feels very like, come watch my little brother put on a play in the basement. He feels like he's written and kind of portrayed like a true child, and it makes me not like the Uhura and him romance.
I will agree partially on this. I don't mind the romance so much on paper because I actually both feel like they're both 25 to me.
Okay. And I think that is closer to their actual age.
She was an ensign in season 1. She'd only just started there. I agree with what you just said that I hadn't really clocked before, but he doesn't feel like a professional. I didn't really feel like he felt like a 16-year-old, but like if Starfleet's hiring him to do like an in-depth documentary like this, he should be more polished and and more mature. That's a good point. I don't feel like he's 16, but you're right that his maturity level isn't high enough for what he's being asked to do.
Yeah.
When he's filming like the fake wedding for Spock, I'm like, yeah, that seems like where you're at.
That's he gets $200 from Spock to film a wedding, and he's getting paid very little because Spock's like, I don't think this footage is going to turn out, but it's
I'm doing Ortegas a favor because he hasn't worked in months.
and then he has something for his portfolio or whatever. Yeah, he feels, and I think even though both these actors are like 25 and they're playing characters who are around 25, if we had two friends who started dating, one of whom was the communications officer on a naval battleship, and the other was a boy who just bought a drone at Best Buy and was like, I want to make YouTubes, it would feel embarrassing.
We would talk to our friend, the naval officer, and
you're a communications officer on a naval battleship, and he is a dude who spent $300 at Space Best Buy this day and doesn't have anything to show for it.
You can do better, girl.
You can do better, and this is a boy.
See, I agree with all of that. You've laid it out very nicely. I think my actual bigger problem with, like, not even so much their romance, but if you're going to introduce this character, who is Ortegas' little brother, he didn't interact with Ortegas all that much. Ortegas, a character we really like. She gets one great episode this season, but other than that, she's not really ever gotten too much to do. So if you're going to introduce her little brother and then have the crux of the episode about the documentary be that he's mad about the Gorn almost killing her, and then they don't even really have a conversation after that, Ortegas and her brother.
Yeah.
It feels like kind of why is her brother here for Uhura? Instead of her brother being here for Ortegas. Well, she's actually going through like a cool arc this season about nearly dying with the Gorn.
Yeah.
So I think that's my bigger problem with that character.
I get that.
Every time that he'd just have scenes with Uhura, I'm like, well, shouldn't you have scenes with your sister?
Yeah, but everyone has to be in a romance.
And that's the thing. Everyone except Ortegas.
Except Ortegas.
She's never gotten banged, and she seems like she fucks.
Yeah. Oh, Ortegas fucks.
But who?
Yeah.
But who?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, another issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, I think that is a nice blend into one of my favorite episodes of the season, which is Ortegas and the Gorn trapped on a planet.
That episode rules.
Yeah.
What a classic Trek. Like, you're one character stuck in a problem, developing a relationship with an alien
that you can't communicate with. It's Darmok and Talat at Tanagra. Yeah.
The crew doing their own.
Darmok and Talat at Tanagra. Yeah.
No, you got the crew doing their own like little adventure about how do we get through the wormhole without dying? How do we when do we leave Ortegas? Do we give up on her? Everything about this episode absolutely rules, except for the last 3 minutes when that weird alien shows up. Other than that, this episode absolutely slaps. When they're playing board games together, her and the Gorn, oh my God, I'm just dying inside about how cute it is, how much they're like, oh, they've built a relationship. This Gorn's actually super cool. She rules. When Ortegas finds out it's a woman Gorn, and she's like, go girl.
Yeah, two ladies doing it.
A sleepover.
That's great. Yeah. Learning the Gorn's board game and then being like, I gotta eat the piece? You're crazy, man. Just that energy was very fun. Yeah, the Martian, but with a someone else kind of is it's very, and even you mentioned the Enterprise problem of keeping the wormhole open. Small stuff like Uhura being torn on the ship about what to do. Little human moments like Pike going I know you flubbed the numbers, Uhura.
I wasn't going to leave her. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole episode.
Just little. Every character is perfectly understood in this episode. I learned to love the Gorn. It's so meaningful and emotional and sincere and hyper competent, which we love competency porn. And then ending up with Lon shooting the Gorn on sight. And it's
Oh, yeah. Because we'd already established, you shoot a Gorn the second you see it. If Ortegas had a gun, she would have shot the Gorn the second she saw it.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson in itself about what's going on here. Because it kind of reminds me of what we've always said about Klingons, which is Klingons can't just want to kill. Because who built their spaceships? Where are their scientists who got them into space and made them cloaking technology and made them spaceships? So even though the Gorn are very we just kill you and hunt you and we hate you, There's got to be Gorn that are like, I just do the science.
I'm an intellectual.
I'm an intellectual science person. And I do like that they actually showed that as well here. They were like, this is the intellectual science Gorn.
Yeah. It's the pilot. That's what they have in
it's the
common.
pilot,
Yeah.
Mhm. Who knows how all this like machinery works. Whereas the Gorn are usually just, most Gorn are portrayed as just being like mindless hunters who will kill you.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see like, oh, okay, this is why they can go to space. Some of them are just smart, normal people.
Yep, absolutely. And just, humanizing the enemy, which is a classic Star Trek thing as well. The opportunity for connection. Yeah, it's a little bit Darmok and Jalad. It's a little bit the Geordi and
I was just about to say the Geordi and the Cardassian episode. Or was it a Romulan?
It was a Romulan.
Is it Romulan? Yeah, they
Geordi
both
and
get
Romulan
trapped
episode.
on the...
Yeah.
I love that episode. Yeah, the Romulan's legs
I'll be
stop
your
working.
eyes, I'll be your
And you'll be
hands.
my
Or
legs.
legs, yeah.
And Geordi's visor stops working. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly balanced episode. That episode rules.
Yeah.
And then the thing with the alien at the end sucked. That's a callback to an original series episode where Kirk fought the Gorn, the classic fight scene you've seen.
Yeah.
And they're the aliens who like set it up. But I will say that nothing in the episode felt like they'd been set up. Like it wasn't like Ortegas was like sucked onto this planet or like transported there against her will. Like it seemed like she got there pretty organically.
I think they're not Q level all powerful. Like they're not teleporting her to the thing, but I think it's like we found a human in a black hole and we can manipulate those to come here. So it does feel like that. I thought they set it up like the light in the distance is supposed to be that creature that's watching her.
I understood that, but like it didn't feel like structured enough to be a thing that we're watching. Like there weren't like challenges that they were supposed to face that felt like kind of targeted towards them.
Yeah, I get that.
Like the episode's just as good if there's no aliens watching them.
I agree with that. And I think I'm not bothered by the alien because I think it's just as good without the alien watching. And the alien watching felt more like we're going to set this up and maybe do some stuff with these aliens later. It felt like more of just a kind of a Star Trek and by the way, there's another thing out there and we're going to kind of go on. We'll do something with that at some other date. And for me, I just kind of read it as, it's like a half Q. Not a full Q.
Not a full Q.
Not a full omniscient, omnipresent type of a thing, but maybe you have one version of...
We're pretty powerful.
We're pretty powerful. Yeah, so it didn't bother me as much as you.
Yeah, it bothered me quite a bit because the episode was so good and it didn't need this. And I'm like, how dare you just walk into this fucking masterpiece of an episode? That was so great.
Ortegas yelling out for them to show themselves, though. I was like,
Ortegas rule. I'm so glad Ortegas finally got like a full episode because she's always around, but she's like, I think the only time she's really gotten like a storyline was that one where they all lose their memories and she keeps having to remind herself she's the pilot.
Yeah.
But that was more of an ensemble episode where she actually got something to do.
Yeah.
This was like an Ortegas episode.
And Melissa Navia is phenomenal.
She's great.
She's phenomenal. She's great. More Ortegas episodes, but I think the show being so romance focused, not giving her a romance, they don't know what to do with her and how to make her the focus of an episode without giving her a romantic partner. And
they don't know what to do with her after introducing a brother.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't even want to make a familial relationship. They're like, the brother's here. Romance with Uhura? And to be like, no, maybe it's time to add a queer romance of some kind because maybe that's what they're scared of. But
maybe that's what they're scared of.
More Ortegas.
More Ortegas. I think this brings us to the finale.
Let's talk finale. So, judging by your impression, you did not enjoy it.
It was nonsense that made sense. Technically, I understood everything that was happening, but I'm also like, this is nonsense. It was emotionally manipulative in such an obvious way, but I still absolutely cried. And it stole from so many other things that had happened that it wasn't original, but it was still kind of cool. This is a really is it good or bad episode for me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think everything about her having superpowers and becoming the beholder and her destiny to do that was so dumb and out of left field. And what do you mean she has universe level changing abilities, not just got a little bit of super strength. When she was half Gorn and had a little bit of super strength, I'm like, well, of course, this makes total sense. But to give her magic
They made her like a magic Miss Marvel type
She
of a
was
thing.
absolutely Captain Marvel level, like higher, like Captain Marvel plus Doctor Strange
Yes.
level of powerful, just all of a sudden. So that all like, I really didn't like anything that happened until we kind of got to like the flash forward where she gets to live her life before she gives her life up to become the Beholder. But also at the same time, it's like, I've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
But you did a really, it pulls on your heartstrings and they like acted it well and it does a really good job. But it's like the knocking is from the David Tennant dying Doctor Who. That's how he knows he's about to die. The Life in a Day, we've done several times on Star Trek before. It always hurts, but it's like, it's been done before. So I was like, oh, I am crying and like they're pulling this off. But I'm like, there's nothing new here and it's all nonsense at the same time.
Yeah, I feel pretty similar. I feel maybe a little bit more optimistic about it because the writing is at times bad, at times pedestrian, is what I would describe it as. Pedestrian.
Oh, you never want to hear your writing called that.
But this is two phenomenal performers. Like, this episode is two bad performers away from being absolute dog shit garbage. This is two legendary, wonderful performers who I like Maria a lot as well.
I don't really like
Marie.
I don't really like Marie very much.
Oh, I
at all.
love Marie.
I think Anson Mount is so good at being in love with her, and I feel almost nothing back from her.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to respectfully disagree on
I'm
that.
totally happy to disagree on that. I don't feel anything from this woman when she looks at Pike and when she does stuff for Pike, but I'm like, Pike's in love with her though.
Yeah. And I think that like she's got a harder job because Pike needs to be the guy who's in love with her. And she's supposed to be Doctor Who granting him a wish before his whatever the fuck. And she's still doing it and so she has a way harder job because her shit is nonsense.
Her shit is nonsense.
Her shit is nonsense. She is swimming in a soup of story elements that make no sense. And he is given this is a woman you love. It's over the plate, a fastball that he can knock out of the park. And they're both doing such good work with it. And yeah, the Life in a Day, we've seen it a million times. It's cheap, but it fucking works.
It always
and I always
works.
cry. And if they're good performers, it works. And this worked. I cried. I was sad. I thought it was wonderful. And it's gobbledygook nonsense. Why did the DNA of three things make her a super being from the past? It feels like it's an homage to the worst of Doctor Who, like the Stephen Moffat closed loop bullshit.
Oh, paradoxes.
Of time paradoxes of the I'm from the past, which is why I'm from the future, which is also why I'm from the past. Don't think about it. Time loop. And it's like, no, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's a dumb idiot time travel thing.
That's never rewarding. No one ever thinks that's clever or cool. I've never watched a Doctor Who that had a time paradox like that, where like the end is the beginning because the end is the beginning. I've been like, oh my god!
How
but when
did you
there's a
do
time
it?
episode where like we use time in a cool way to explain how this is going to work, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Like, even when you look at Pike's arc is a general thing of well, when you see your own future, it's not about time travel and it's not about how do we make a loop. It is about how do you accept the purpose of your life, knowing what the end is. There's an emotional core to what Pike has witnessed in his own future. And hers is just I don't know, I think my story is about it happened because it happened.
I think I'm full of light now.
And I'm full of light.
Whoa!
It's the worst of Doctor Who.
It's-
And an episode that even has a Doctor Who joke in it from Pelia that does not work in any way.
doesn't
And
land.
is barely audible.
And comes from nowhere. Apparently, there was a TARDIS in an earlier episode and a small speck of space that I didn't even see, but people were talking about that Easter egg. So yeah, it's nonsense that I understood what was happening the whole time. Like, oh yeah, this guy, they're evil things, and we saw this guy before. And I was actually very excited that Chris Myers as Gamble was back
phenomenal.
We loved this guy.
This guy's crushing it.
As soon as he showed up, we were like, please stay in sickbay all the time. We love this guy. And they killed him immediately. And then they brought him back, though, for the finale. So we were like, yay, is he back for good? And now he's dead again. So that's unfortunate. But Chris Myers, you rule. And we wanted you to stay.
Immediately charismatic and likable as a crew member, as an ensign, and then immediately like powerful, intimidating as a villain.
Good villain.
Played like the crazy Sam Neill Event Horizon eyeless man really well. Like a range and immediately hits all of it running is wonderful.
I hope they find a way to bring him back. This guy ruled.
He rules. So yeah, some great performances. He rules. Anson Mount is great. I like Marie in that performance a bit better than you, but
I don't dislike her. I don't think she's doing what Anson Mount's doing.
Fair. Yeah.
So
then,
we'll disagree.
And then just dumb time loop stuff.
And then dumb time loop stuff and too many romances. Yeah. That's season 3 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
That's it. They had some ups and downs, but I respect the things that they tried.
They are always trying something.
And I'll even say, like, for the bad Doctor Who-ness of that finale, I'm like, you're trying something. It's a little bit like trite or whatever, but I'm like, it's a little bit not Star Trek-y to make it a bit Doctor Who-y. And I'm like, we can have fun and try that. Like, those are similar. There's an overlap of the Venn diagram of what, constitutes a Doctor Who space adventure and a Star Trek space adventure. But I like that it's like, all right, you're trying something a little bit outside of the boundaries, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, my instinct is to be a hypocrite and be like, it's only okay to try new things when it works. And that can't be the attitude.
That can't be it.
You have to say you can try new things, and some of them won't work, but you probably still should have tried it.
I'd rather you alienate me than bore me. And that is always it.
You know what? Yeah.
The documentary one, I didn't like it. The execution didn't work, but I like that I had things to say and think about it, and it was intriguing, and they tried something. This one, it was an alienation that bordered on boring, just to be like, it's kind of a mid-level Doctor Who episode, so that's why it's a little bit lower down. But stuff like the documentary, stuff like the 4.5 Vulcans, you're trying stuff, and I like it.
No, yeah, you gotta let them try. I won't be a hypocrite and be like, only try the good things.
You got to find out.
But I hope they've learned their lessons about what's working and what's not.
Well, and on the subject of what's working and what's not, we're the arbiters of that, because in a moment we will ask our final question, what would you change? So now that we have discussed everything about this, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do ask that final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, YouTube, wherever you are. Hit like, hit follow, subscribe, whatever they call that button, and then leave a rating and review if you can. It helps us move up the charts and find new listeners. It helps us get recommended to new audience. It's how we organically grow, and it means a lot to us and all the podcasts out there that you might rate, review, and subscribe to.
It means a lot. So be nice to us. We're nice.
Be nice.
We'd like you if you could just be nice. Be nice to us, please. We need a quick favor. A quick favor, a 5-star review, a follow on wherever you listen to your podcasts would mean the world to us.
Quite helpful. And as well, if you do want to support us monetarily, you can do that over on our Patreon page, which is a monthly subscription service. You can subscribe at whatever level is in your budget. You can get our webcomics early. You can get these episodes early and ad-free. You can also get an exclusive bonus episode of this podcast every single month. And you get immediate access to the back catalog if you do that. This month, we'll be doing more Star Trek. We'll be doing Star Trek Generations.
Ooh, Andrew's never seen it.
Which I've never actually seen. So we'll be doing that as our Patreon exclusive episode this month. So if you want to check that out, you can sign up at the $10 hero level. Or you can buy that individual episode for just $5 as well. But if you do the $10 hero level, you'll get access to the full back catalog. So check out all of the options over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And now, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question now that we have discussed everything we have discussed. Diana, what would you change about this if you could change anything?
There's like a lot of little changes. We've discussed them, but we're in the big change section. So because there's only 10 episodes and thinking of what I like about Trek, I'm removing just literally every romance. I don't want any romance. I want you to go through space and fight aliens and have moral quandaries. And I just don't watch Star Trek for romances. So Chapel and Spock, Lon and Spock, Battelle and Pike, Uhura and Ortegas' brother, and also we only have 10 episodes and our cast is too big. I'm just going to cut every single romance out of this season, and we're going to focus on what we're doing, who we have on the crew. Ortegas' brother can still show up if he's there for Ortegas and not for Uhura. I want to streamline it. I want to go on adventures. I don't really care about who's dating who and how hard long distance is. It's not a thing that any Star Trek character has ever cared about on any Star Treks I've watched. Really, the only time you really get a long-term romance on Star Trek is when it's like a 20-year ahead time jump, and it's like, I had a family off screen. Don't worry about it. And that's what I want for these characters. So I'm just cutting all romance out. If you're not going to have queer romances, then let us fanfic writers do it. We'll give them to you. Don't worry about it. And just take them out then. That's equality. No romances. I'm putting my foot down. That's my big change for the season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Andrew, what would you change?
I like where your head's at. I'm going to... It's so tough to say because I really do think Spock and Lon have such good chemistry. It sucks that we've wasted so much romance to get to this one that works, which is a shame. But I think I can get on board with your removal of all the romance. Mine would be, and I thought that they were doing this, was using Scotty as an excuse to write out Pelia, who does not work as a character.
We don't need 2 engineers.
Doesn't function here. So I would use Scotty as the excuse to write out Pelia, who just has not worked as a character and doesn't give her the opportunity to comedically shine like she can, and is just kind of a mess. So I would do that. And then if I were to piggyback on your no romance thing, I actually think that if Kirk is going to be around this much, there needs to be more weird stuff between him and Spock.
Yeah, more weird stuff.
Like that mind meld scene is perfect, and there should have been a dozen of those for the amount of Kirk, who is not a main. Mm-hmm. And frankly, we've kind of written his brother off of the show. He only had like 2 scenes in this season, and he was supposed to be the
reason Kirk shows up all the time.
Yeah. So if Kirk's around, Spock needs to be the reason that he's showing up all the time. If we're not going to have queer romances, you at least got to have queer coding and let the fans do what they do. So I think it's like, yeah, we need to have more scenes with Kirk and Spock, more of a like, I'm becoming good friends with Spock. And there were some nice moments with Kirk and Scotty as well, but I'm like, we got to get more Kirk and Spock. So I think, yeah, cut back, take the foot off the gas with the relationships. Mm-hmm. Add more Kirk and Spock scenes that are like a little bit like, whoa, what's that all about?
Do they respect each other in a platonic way?
Yeah, there's a lot of respect going around.
Look at all that respect. Oh boy.
So I want to add that. Yeah, Scotty replaces Pelia, and Spock and Kirk have more scenes.
I love that. I think that's a great change. Because, yeah, one weird thing that they've kind of like also backed off on is because Kirk and Lon were like super into each other in season 2.
Yes.
They had that whole like trapped in Toronto storyline together.
Yeah.
So like I do appreciate that they haven't made it weird that Spock and Lon are together.
Yeah.
They were just like, well, we'll just forget that.
Yeah, because even with the with the guy that Chapel is dating, why is that name
Corby?
Corby. Corby, who I like that character. I like that performer. Does a good job. But if in the imaginary Q wedding episode, if like Spock's best man was Kirk and it was Kirk telling him not to get married, and I'm like, oh, there would be a lot to mine and work with there.
Yum.
So I'm like, you can get a little more Kirk in some places that make for some fun things, you know?
Yeah, like they really underutilized him in the holodeck.
Yeah. Yes, they did as well.
Yeah,
there.
like a really easy way to get him here without getting his whole ship here.
Yeah.
To have him on the holodeck, but yeah, an underutilization.
Yeah.
I love this. I like this change. Yeah, go Andrew, you're getting it. You're picking up the fanfic vibe.
I know what's up. Just because I'm not in the fanfic community doesn't mean that I don't respect the fanfic community.
I know you do.
And what inspires fans to fic. To love and think and appreciate and fantasize about what it is and isn't happening. I think it's so important.
Wonderful change.
Well, that is going to be it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Next week, we are going to be back and we are going to be talking about the movie Aliens.
With an S.
S, the second of the film, Alien $S. We will be talking about that in the build up to our coverage of Alien Earth. So we'll talk to y'all next week about that. In the meantime, don't forget, if you're in the Halifax area, we're going to be at HalCon, and you can pick up tickets for my performance at Good Robot in Halifax, available at andrewiveme.com or a link in the show description. And you can find me online most places at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana.
And you can check out both of us and everything we create over at FromSuperheroes.com. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.